Welcome, amazing agents and investors from across the country. Today is Thursday, June 27th, 2019, and this is Mastermind Call number 234. Before I forget, obviously we will not be having a call next Thursday as it is the 4th of July. Hope you guys have a great day off and don't bother calling in. We will be doing our regular monthly role play call next Wednesday, July 3rd at 2 p.m. Eastern. Just call into the same number. Just want to make sure I remembered to mention that. Chad, anything you want to say before we get started?
No, I don't think so. Let's
Yeah.
roll the lines.
All right. And Tim is here. He said he's a pony. He's a little horse, so we won't call on him too much.
That was hurtful.
Well, you said you were a little hoarse, so that
I
would
said
make you a
you
pony.
sounded a little hoarse to me.
Oh no, I'm fine. Must be
That's
the connection
debatable.
up here. Must be the connection up here in the mountains. All right. Well, we have 3 people in the queue. We got plenty of room for more. Just hit *6 and hit 1. And first up this week is phone number ending in 2473. You're up first.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Siobhan. I'm calling from Richmond, Virginia. This is
Welcome.
my third call, so I'm brand new to real estate overall. So I haven't had any leads or done any deals or anything yet. I've just been spending the last few weeks educating myself on the process of wholesaling and probate, which I recently came interested in, which led me here. I've already spoken with Natalie about leads in a few counties in my area.
Great.
And I ran across the Mastery program. That's actually what my question is about. For someone brand new, just starting out, like where would you recommend starting? Because I know they had, I was informed about the fast track training. I'm not exactly sure what that is and the difference between Mastery and fast track. So where would you
Sure.
recommend starting for someone who is brand new?
So Fast Track is kind of the basic training that we give you just to kind of get you oriented in the space and learn the systems and tools we provide. And that's about 48 minutes of training and 3 different videos for to get you started. Mastery is really designed to give you confidence. I guess if I had to pick one objective for the training, that would be it, because the people who are confident and proud of what they're offering seem to be the ones that are putting $1 million a year in the bank. So the whole point of it is to kind of show you the opportunity. So first, what does probate look like as an opportunity and why, based on demographics and a lot of other data. Second, what can you do to monetize that, from wholesaling to flipping to creating private money programs to general brokerage. And then the third day, we focus on how to have the initial conversation, tricks to get engagement, keep engagement, and lead them where you need them, to get the information you need. And then how you handle the appointments face to face. And we cross-train everybody, so even if you're, if you just want to do wholesaling, you're going to get the same value that a brand new realtor would get. And I mean, for $250, we try to keep the bar low, so so new folks can actually do that in the beginning. I think you kind of have to look at your personality type and the way you approach business. I mean, the idea of Mastery is to cut your learning curve from 2 to 3 years down to 2 to 3 days. And by showing you, and I weave in a lot of stories, a lot of examples, and we do an exhaustive Q&A at the end. And so, I mean, we certainly have a lot of folks who sign up for Mastery first and then realize, holy crap, I'm ready. I need to go get leads and get started. And some people will market and, get a few deals under the belt and then do it. I would say look at what kind of learner you think you are. If you usually aim, fire, then you should probably take Mastery first. But if you usually shoot from the hip and then correct course, then maybe you can go ahead and get started with marketing and come back and take Mastery later.
Okay.
Does that help?
Okay. Yes, it does. With the timing, is it flexible? I know that there is like a set time where you do the Mastery program, but if I'm unavailable,
I teach it once a month, and there's never a time that I could pick where we could all make it for every session. So it's typically a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 2 p.m. to anywhere from 5 to 6 p.m., depending on how interactive the group is, and it's taught once a month. Right now, today is the last day of the June training, and the next one will be in late July. So if you wanted to go ahead and if you sign up right now, you'll get the invite for the live session 3 as soon as this call's over, and then you'll get I'll send you the recordings from the last 2 days. And rather than have people waiting around, if you sign up between classes, you have the video recordings, and then you can jump on my calendar to work one-on-one. If you have unanswered questions after finishing the sessions, we can schedule a time to work together. So that way you're not waiting a month to get what you need.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I have one more question.
Sure.
It's about building a team. I have a partner who is interested in becoming a realtor within the next few months, and they may not be ready and licensed by the time that we plan to get started, which is very soon. How should I go about finding a realtor to add to my team before my partner is ready? I'm not sure.
So we talked about this, I don't remember if it was on a YouTube video yesterday or on Probate Mastery, but it's easy to find a realtor. It's hard to find a realtor that understands what wholesalers do. I would say somewhere between 5 and 10% of the industry, even like only that many in brokerage, understand what wholesaling is and how the business works and why it exists. Even when they can sell a house for 100% of value, why would someone sell a house for 50%? But so there's a handful of agents out there that really get it. And those are the ones you need to partner with, because they need to understand when that level of motivation is there, they're not going to list that house. They're going to sell that house today or tomorrow, and they don't want to talk to a realtor or look at those options. And that's coming from lots of experience. Like when I buy a house for 50 or 60 cents on the dollar, I tell them I can list it and sell it for this. They're not listening. So just make sure you find a realtor that understands wholesaling and understands, your side, the investment side of the business. That can sometimes be a challenge. They'll sometimes be in your local REI groups. They'll sometimes be the listing agent for whoever's doing all the flips in your market. So the idea that I gave the gentleman yesterday, go to your local MLS. If you have MLS access through any realtor, pull a list of like closed properties over the last 2 years, sort by seller name, and look at the LLCs that are coming up multiple times and see who their listing agent is. That realtor probably understands investment because they probably got that flipper into the deal. That's how they earned the listing to get them out of the deal. So that's kind of a shortcut, just a trick that you can use to figure out who's working with the investors in your market. Going to the REI and just networking is another way to hopefully meet a licensee that understands. In that case, they may be competing with you though. They may already be doing what you're trying to do. But when the idea is when you guys, ideally you're going to have one person on the phone who understands the intersection of equity. And what I mean there is if you're a wholesaler and you get to a point in the conversation where you realize they only have 20% equity, you obviously don't want to make an offer and break rapport. You need to recognize that and hand it off to the realtor immediately. And be like, you know what? Based on what we've talked about, I think Pauline is going to be the one to help you on our team. You mind, let me see if I can get her on the line right now. And you do a live transfer to Pauline and turn it over as a brokerage conversation, and then let her set the appointment and go on it. And you step out of the way. The same thing, if that realtor is on the phone and they see a high level of motivation and a high level of equity, then they need to set the appointment up for you, or you both need to go on it together. So whoever you choose as a partner, just make sure they're bought into your vision and they understand the way the business works, because And I'm telling you, this is based on probably 300 direct referrals from a wholesaler. Like, we tried to work as a team in 2 separate businesses. But once you pass a certain point as an investor, it's damn near impossible to refer that to a realtor, because if they don't like your offer and they don't take your offer, you break rapport, and it's hard to get, for me, it's impossible.
Mhm.
If I spot it on the phone and set it up, or I go on the appointment with an investor, I get every one of them, whether it's a listing or a sale. So just when you're choosing someone, make sure they understand what wholesaling is, how do you determine a wholesale deal versus a retail deal, and whoever's the point person on the phone needs to really understand. I'm not going to muddy the water for my partner by throwing out a low offer. It's a slim chance this one will ever sell for my price. I'm going to kick it to her, and vice versa.
Okay.
Okay, that helps.
It does. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Siobhan. All right, Chad, speaking of making $1 million a year, next up is David Pinnell.
Oh, we're
How you
blocking
doing,
him
David?
from future calls.
Yeah. You are? You're blocking them?
Yeah, we got what we needed from him. We're done.
Well, I'll ask a really good question though. I'm struggling myself a little bit on affidavit airship. I'm going through the old ones, and there seem to be more immediate, or they are just planning the estate. So they're kind of, I don't want to come at them as a probate subject line when I get them on the phone, and most people don't even realize they're doing what they're doing, and we're calling them to sell a house. I need some help on this.
So explain to me what that means in your state.
They're getting ready to. I guess we don't buy these leads from you. I thought we did. Affidavit airship is the same thing, but it's where they're transferring. They have a will, or they're preparing for a death in the family, or they're just preparing the estate way before. Like grandma has a house, and they know grandma's getting old, so they're doing a affidavit airship instead of waiting to do probate if she passes away.
Is that related to monument of title in Texas?
Could be. It's close, but that's going to be after the fact.
Yeah,
These people.
You guys have some interesting loopholes in Texas that I don't think apply to most of us. I haven't dealt with affidavit of airship in Virginia or anywhere else. I don't know, Jim, if you've ever had any experience with it.
No, not in Florida at all, no.
Dang
But
yeah.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, so that's just I'm running into that because we're getting the numbers from you guys, I believe. But we're getting relatives and we're.
So when that affidavit is being recorded, you're saying that it's during an estate planning scenario?
Yeah.
So they've already...
Probably 20% are looking to sell right away because they're transferring the estate before it goes to probate, or an attorney's doing it. So they do, and sometimes they end up having multiple properties to sell. But I don't know how to open the conversation. I'll figure it out, but maybe I'm just looking for some leadership on it.
Well, I think you just need to change your script a little bit from saying, we've got a team of people that help families going through probate to, we've built a team of people here locally that help families in transition. And sometimes that means trust, sometimes probate, sometimes moving into long-term care, sometimes just downsizing, because why live in a 6,000 square foot house when it's just 2 of you? And it really starts with, we kind of proactively reach out to certain people in the community that we've identified that usually need our help. And that's why we're on the phone today. So is there anything you guys could use some help with? I mean, tell me about what you're seeing, and just approach it kind of that way. So broaden your scope of service outside of probate. There was a gentleman in Central Ohio that did a really good job. I kind of helped him with the brand on this, and he branded as the transition team, and he kind of approached it the same way I just proposed. It's like we're not here waiting for anyone to pass away. If that has happened to you, we certainly can help, but our team can handle everything, and that's that life, end of life period, from getting you set up with social workers and health care and long-term care, all the way through to, real property, personal property downsizing. If and when a death occurs, we can help with that, and even beyond that. So he had a really broad scope of service, and it worked really well for him. He's not doing it anymore because he was really good at finding, he would basically partner with estates, subdivide farms into subdivisions, and add like $1 million in equity to the estate. So for him, he could do 1 or 2 deals a year and make $500,000 and go ride his motorcycle. So he kind of backed off of the brand just because he was so successful doing the subdivisions. But that was his approach, and he gained momentum really quickly until he decided it was just he would rather ride his motorcycle, which I can't fault the guy for that.
Yeah, really. I can't wait to get there.
Yeah. So
riding the
you
laptop right now.
You may consider just broadening your brand and broadening your offer. If you're looking, if you're looking upstream of probate when people are planning, broaden your offer out to the baby boomer generation.
Yeah, and I've
maybe
noticed
like,
too, if we get a hold of the person actually filing the paperwork, it's an easier conversation. They're actually nicer about it. So.
Yeah, I mean, consider something like, DFW transition team or something like that.
Okay.
Tried on the phones a couple of times. Like, listen, there's a lot of reasons families file paperwork and record stuff. We know we've made a huge impact on lots of families in the community. So we have one of our team members in the courthouse every 30 days, and we reach out to folks like you because we know that there's a good chance you need help, and we're the best ones to help you. So anything you can think of you'd like to have off your plate, and approach it that way, and just see how it goes.
Perfect. Yeah, nice.
And I was just going to say, anybody who wasn't on last week's call, I'm just going to tease the case study you've got going out, Chad. David has done an extraordinary job at hanging in there, and he's done an extraordinary job at converting older leads. And Chad just did a case study with him that'll be going out, I think, in the next few days. So everybody just keep an eye out for that. And David, we really appreciate you being so open and sharing with all your methods, techniques, and everything that's working.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a struggle when you have to learn a new pillar. And if you just go deep with it, you just think, if I have any words of advice, I write on my desk, and it's be the leader you want to follow. I love that quote because you got to drive deep with this stuff. You can't give up in 6 months. And this is really 18-month journey for me. And I got in on these calls 2 years ago and just never bought the leads. But this is going to be the most powerful lead source that we have. And I'm serious. We'll check in a year, and we'll be converting 20 to 25 a month probably.
And you're not that far, David. I know you're a realtor and an investor, and you're doing. You've had months where you've done 6 or 7 flips and 6 or 7 listings the same month, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's good to have the team, like you just talking to that one lady in Virginia or D.C. Man, if I have any suggestion, if she's just getting into it, don't rush into getting a team. Learn both sides of the business. And when you're going in for that rapport, I always future pace somebody. Hey, we're coming out. We could give you a cash offer. We could do a discount listing if you have no equity, or we can list it full market package with Cities Real Estate. We're future pacing them as soon as we get them on the phone and through all of our messages going out. So they know that we're not coming out just for their equity. We're coming out to help them.
Yeah.
But half the chances we're getting that house at 40, 50% off.
That's good.
They don't want to
advice.
deal
I
with
think I might have been referring to the conversation you and I had, David, but I agree with you. The best thing that she could do, I don't remember your name, in Richmond, the best thing you can do is go get your own real estate license. And don't listen to the gurus and wholesale coaches that tell you that's a liability. That's bullshit. If you're ethical, a license is never a liability. What it is an opportunity to keep a lot more money in your business instead of giving it away to a partner. So that's
and you show up like
approach.
we talked, Chad, not to interrupt you, but you show up as a professional.
Exactly.
So
not a realtor, not an investor, David.
Yeah.
I think, Jim, I think we forgot to give David, you had the win of the week last week, right? With the church, Wholesale Church?
He did. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, and I think you got the assignment signed last night, right? Give us an update.
Yes, sir. We actually gave it to our title rep, and it's worth $38,000. Sorry, don't be publishing
You
that.
mean the assignment fee was $38,000?
Yeah.
That's not a bad deal.
So in 2 hours worth of work, you know, we're able to make that much money and put that much more towards our machine.
It sounds like you just paid for your leads for the next 15 years, I think. Or
yeah.
pretty,
Like Chad
pretty
said,
well.
we're gonna upgrade our envelopes. So we're gonna upgrade our letters and envelopes. So we're
That's
just gonna
great.
keep, you know, stacking the value until we figure out how to populate 20 heads a month.
Finally, we got somebody to buy those gold foil envelopes. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. But I mean, you got to ride both sides of the fence, and as long as you show up as someone that could benefit them, you know, just get out of your own way, help them.
Sure. So
Well, thanks so much. Go ahead.
Sorry, Tim.
No, go ahead, Chad.
Anyways, we have the video that David and I did since he's on the phone with us. We went, I don't know, an hour, hour and a half, and talked about a lot of these things, a lot of mindset and approach. So if you guys don't usually look at our blogs, we should get that out probably tomorrow or Monday. But keep an eye out for that. I mean, the guy that's on the phone, he just showed you his time's worth $19,000 an hour. He worked 2 hours to make 38 grand. And he was generous enough to give us that time, and thank you for that, and thanks for taking the time to come back here, David. But there's a ton. You know, we're all going to do things. We're all going to do things a little different. And David kind of went from reinventing the wheel to using the proven process to outgrowing that really quickly and building it into a pretty impressive system. And he's been generous enough to share a lot of that knowledge in our Facebook group and do the videos. So you guys pay attention to what you're hearing. It's not just us saying this. Like, David's one of those people that kind of embrace the same values that we do, and you know, you get, if you put enough effort and enough good intentions out there, it's not hard to make $1 million a year doing this.
All right. Well, we got a full queue. Thank you very much, David. And everybody's looking forward to having that posted in the next couple of days. Keep coming back. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Take care, man. Next up is phone number ending in 6677. You're up next.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Clayton from Pittsburgh calling. Have a couple of questions. Have been on the phones and been getting some objections, and wanted to kind of hear your thoughts. First of all, I've been getting a lot of "we have it all handled," and I've sent out, I think, like 2 or 3 mailings, and I've gotten like maybe 3 appointments. I don't know if that's good. And that's the number one question. Number 2 question is, I keep getting "we have this all handled," and I'm like, that's the end of the conversation. And I've tried to use different types of like, oh, like that's what my best clients say and stuff like that. And I haven't really been able to get through that. Yeah. And I have one more question after that.
So what happens when you're trying things on for size? Like, what is their response?
They just say, no, we have it all handled. We've gotten a million, like envelopes. Like we have all the housing stuff handled. Stop bothering us. Take me off your list. All that stuff.
Okay. And you tried to, that's what our best clients say. It sounds like you've tried that one, and they just go back into the pattern.
Yeah, a lot of times they just go back into the pattern. Now, I didn't do it, as skillfully as you guys did, but yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it sounds like you definitely have competition in the mailbox, but it sounds like you have some on the phone too, and they're just trying to run you off. Are they hanging up, or are they hanging on the phone in kind of awkward silence?
Some of them hang up, and some of them stay on the phone. But I think you're right in that observation, in that my market is like a very old market, and I think a lot of people are just sending, like 20 postcards about, hey, we'll buy your house, and then that's obviously, their kind of mental model of why I'm reaching out.
So here's the deal. The guy that was just on before you is on track to do 101 closings conservatively this year. There are 21,000 realtors in his market and 6,000 to 8,000 real estate investors, and not to mention all of the iBuyers with $10 billion in capital funding behind them. But he's able to do 101 deals in that environment. There's something that works for you. We just have to figure out what that is. Not many of us are in a more competitive market than he is. His approach is just more calls, more aggressively until he speaks to them. But I'm wondering if it might be he's opening his conversations really strong, and that's where you're getting caught up. And we'll have a role play in a couple of, I guess, in a month or so. If you want to jump into a role play and just kind of show us how you're starting your call, maybe we can see something there.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good. I agree with that. I mean, I definitely could use help because I've only called through the list like probably twice, and a lot of times I haven't even talked to that many people. So it's a very small percentage of the people that I connect with.
Okay.
The first part of your question, you said you've done 2 mailings and gotten 3 appointments. Were the appointments directly from the mail?
No.
Okay.
The appointments were from getting on the phone. In one of them, the woman already had a cash buyer, and I said, hey, like, let me come over to the house. We have a lot of solutions that we could help you out with. Maybe they're just trying to take the equity off your table, and I have a partner who's a real estate agent who might be able to help you get the highest and best out of the property. And so we came over, and then I said, yeah, this is definitely a cash offer, and so that didn't work. And then another one, the woman said, another one I called in about 2 weeks ago about it actually, and it was about, the woman getting shocked by, sticker shock. And then
Right.
The last one I actually got under contract this month.
Oh, great! Congratulations.
For a wholesale deal, but thank you very much. I think I got it under contract for a little too high, so we will see about that.
All right. Well, you got a contract signed in 2 months. That's not bad. You're off to a
Okay.
pretty strong start. Yeah. So no, I wouldn't be discouraged with those. The results vary greatly, and so much of it is your market, so much of it is timing, and a lot of it is your approach. So certainly, I think you got off to a decent start. Just keep it up.
Okay.
And keep working on your approach. And like Chad said, we're doing the role play call next Wednesday. If you want to come on the role play call, Chad, did you want to do that on the role play call, or try to do it with him today?
Well, I think I have to jump in a few minutes just to keep the line. We have a role play coming up, so that's a good idea. And if you don't want to do it publicly, you can grab a spot on my calendar, Clayton.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd like to do that. How do I get on that, Chad, real quick?
I'll send you the link.
Okay, perfect. And one last thing, guys, because I'm not a realtor, I've seen a couple of property listed, and I know that you mentioned, Chad, in the probate mastery that that a lot of times those listings, just because the agent is not really prioritizing them, they just go extinct. They never sell. What's kind of the protocol to follow that up? Is it kind of out of hand to still contact the people, the executors?
So if you're contacting them trying to get a listing, that's one thing. If you're trying to get a wholesale deal, you have to kind of look at your own, I guess, values and ethics. But If you drop a letter
Okay.
in the mail once a month saying, hey, I noticed your home's still on the market, when you're in a position to talk about a cash offer with no commissions, I'd love to speak with you. And just drop a soft touch like that. Don't try to go in and cut them out of their own deal. But if in 6 months you keep following up and they haven't sold the home, they're going to call you first.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks, guys.
All right. We'll talk to you next Wednesday. We'll start off the role
And
play
the
call.
other-
Just call in early. We'll get you in there.
Thank
The
you very
other
much,
really
guys. Have a
obvious
great day.
answer, Clayton, the other really obvious answer, if you go to the listing agent, tell them they get to double end it and make them an offer.
He dropped off already, Chad. I think he dropped out of the queue. I didn't disconnect him, but hopefully he heard you.
That's
So,
okay. Yeah, I mean, it's
all right.
already listed, so go make an offer. And the reason I recommend, build rapport with the listing agent, remind them that they're going to get both sides of the commission, and then make them an offer. And, no contingencies, make it a really good offer. But I would recommend meeting that agent in person, building rapport so they don't just discount you and throw you under the bus when they present the offer. Become their friend and then make the offer.
Perfect. We got 4 more in the queue, guys. I would say we'll probably close the queue in about 5 minutes. That'll take us up to the first part to the top of the hour. Next up is phone number ending in 2280. You're up next.
Hi, this is Joanne. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Joanne. Hi.
Hi. I have one question, but I did want to express a great result that I got this week. After sending out the first letter and then I sent a brochure a month later, I got an email saying, I'd like you to help me clean out the house and sell the house. And so I made an appointment to go over there and see her, under the impression she wanted to list it. And she said, well, we've already got a couple of cash offers, so I'm going to think about it till tomorrow whether or not I want to list it. And then I said, well, I've got investors as well. I'd be happy to bring one of the guys in my office who does fix and flips. And so I took him over the next day. We wrote an offer, and then she accepted it on Monday. And so we're in escrow for a cash deal 2 weeks. And I'm in Southern California. I forgot to mention that.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
So your
that
first
was exciting.
Go ahead, Chad.
I was just going to ask, how did you monetize that? Did you have a buyer's agreement with the person you brought, or did you list it?
I didn't list it. I just said I would represent her for a 2% commission, and it's a
Okay.
$650,000 house, so it's going to be like $12,000-$13,000. So
Nice.
she had, yeah, thank you. The other offers were straight investors where there would have been no commission, so I feel pretty good that she did accept it. And after I met her the first time, I sent her a thank you note as well. And so she's very sweet. And then there may be another house. She wants to sell her house later on this year. So that could be a possibility. And then I do have 2 other people that I've met with multiple times that they have to remodel their houses before they will sell them. So I have 2 others kind of in the queue that'll come up in probably the next couple of months.
And are you helping them by providing contractor referrals? Are you any part of that?
Well, I offered it to one. She said she already had a contractor, and she's doing her probate without an attorney, and there was actually a fire in the property, so it's quite a mess. And also her brother was in BK, so there's all these little facets that need to be completed before she can even clean it out and do any repairs, because it's just pretty complicated. So, but she is really appreciative of my help. She calls every once in a while and says, okay, now I need to do this. What do you think? And, I help guide her a little bit.
That's a really good sign. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And she even said I was aggressive.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. But the thing, I'm getting a few calls back. And I got one this morning saying, well, you called me on Monday. And I said, well, I help families who are going through probate. She goes, well, I'm not going through a probate. And I said, well, do you have a family member that's going? She said, no, I don't. So I'm not sure how I did that.
So it was probably a common name, and
Okay.
you know, if you're in Southern California and you pull a number for John Smith,
Uh-huh.
we may have to choose between 45 results for John Smith, and sometimes
Okay.
it's not a perfect science. So you could just say something like, you know, my assistant looks up my numbers for me. She must have given me the wrong one. Sorry to waste your time, and just brush it off.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I told her, I said, I'll look through my notes and see if I can, you know, and now I've been searching for that number and I don't even see that number. So maybe I even dialed wrong. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the only difficulty that I'm having is kind of keeping track of everybody, of who I've called. I'm doing it on a spreadsheet instead of using the CRM, and so.
Why is that?
Well, I kind of like just having it in front of me, and then if I have my notebook, I don't have to sign on to the computer if somebody calls and see who I called. And but it's not working now that I have like 5 months worth of leads.
Yeah.
To
That's
keep
why
on
the
top of
CRM
it.
exists. Like when we first started out, we were teaching people how to manage this without software, and it
Okay.
just was such a struggle. It snowballs out of control. I mean, David, who you heard on the call earlier, he's got 934 in opportunity status, meaning that they've had some
Wow.
conversation that they're continuing. And his CRM, I'm not going to say it's the reason he's been so successful, his tenacity and his systematic approaches and just showing up and being on the phone every day. I don't believe he could ever manage that, as complicated as his sequence is and as many touches as he has, if he didn't
Okay.
have a good a good database system in place. And ours is really simple.
Okay.
Make sure you look at the option status tab. You can track, when you called them, set follow-up dates. You can also use short codes. So we realize that, we can never make a tool that fits everybody. So you could do like, hashtag lives out of town could be one.
Okay.
And you can start to sort your leads and only only follow up with the people who live out of town, or only follow up with people who are struggling getting the house cleaned out, or things like that. You can customize
Okay.
it to make it yours. But we've intentionally kept it really simple so people do want to use it, because not everybody's like David. A lot of folks just need some way to stay organized, and that's really what it's for. That and to save you money. With under the option status tab, you're excluding people from future calls, mail, or emails. So that's designed to save you time and money as you progress through the list, and you have subsequent, prospecting sessions. You might go from 100 to 75 to 50 to 30 to, in the end, you might only be calling 5 people on that list. So it saves you a lot of time and money too.
Okay. And the other thing is that I'm actually sharing leads with another person in my office. So it's a little, I'm not quite sure how to decipher which one is mine or which one is hers by using that CRM, unless...
You could use the short code for that. You could do, hashtag Jane and hashtag John, and split them that way and sort by your short codes. That's, hopefully you have a trusting relationship and you guys are, trusted each other enough to do this together, and you don't have to worry about them having access to your leads. Okay. But that's probably the simplest way to accomplish it.
All right. I'll give that a shot, and then if I'm struggling with it, I'll give you guys a call and get some more direction on that.
Okay. Perfect. And you're certainly in running for the winner of the week. Thank you for a great story. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, we have 3 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 0883. You're up next.
So, Jim Forsyth, how are you today?
Great, Jim. How about yourself?
Well, I'll be a whole lot better here in another 3 or 4 hours. I'm headed to Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Nice.
I'm going to be working with my new guy down there in Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, and in the Mobile area. But had a couple of questions for you.
Hey, Jim, you're coming across just a little bit muffled. Are you on a speakerphone?
I'm on the Bluetooth.
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead. We can understand you. Just try to speak up a little bit. Go ahead.
I will. That one working right now. And affidavit airship, where it's state typically.
Hey, Jim, I spoke too soon. You're breaking up really bad. Can you just talk over the phone directly?
I'll give it a shot. Hang on just a minute.
All right.
How's it?
A little better. A little better. Go ahead. You there, Jim? Chad, you're still there, right?
Yeah, I'm here. I think he dropped the call
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, I think we dropped it. I'm sure he'll call back in. Let's go to, we just want to make sure you all can understand him, and it was so muffled, it was hard. Next up is phone number ending in 9486. You're up next. Are you there, John? 9486.
Yeah, sorry, had you on mute. Yeah, it's John Bell calling from Coronado, California.
Hey, John.
Beautiful Southern California. Hey, yeah, I really enjoyed the call. This is the first time I've been on. I've done a fair amount of wholesale deals, and I only did one probate deal, but we've been talking back and forth about me getting in the program. But I just wanted to share some ideas because I think it was the guy from Pittsburgh that was talking about getting the brush off. And don't you think it'd be important if we found out when they say we got it covered or we have it handled, that you're actually talking to, say, the executor or the decision maker on the deal? Because many times you might reach a family member rather than that. And I think by saying, hey, we want to find out who, are you the executor, might be a good question. And if they say yes, then you got to have a backup pitch for that. But that was just one idea. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
Well, it's a good point. I was operating on the assumption that, Clayton can see the PR's name, and he sees that the phone number matches that. When he says, hi, I'm trying to reach John. Yeah, this is John. So then I'm assuming he has the PR on the phone, but you do make a good point.
Okay, and then the other point was, I think for the girl that was really just starting out, I think the key for my real estate and my sales experience is that you have to create this mindset that you're adding value to the person. And I really like the fact somebody on the call touched on that. And as long as you can show that you're adding the value, like say it's $38,000 assignment fee, that's still value. And I don't think it should be denigrated to an hourly rate or that it's some super hourly rate, because if you keep the mindset that you're creating value and there's an added value to your proposition, then it gives you the confidence, because that's really what this is all about, is giving them the confidence they're dealing with an expert and somebody that can get them across the finish line with the most amount of money. And along those lines, one of the things that I've used is, well, how are we going to get this house in marketing condition? It's in living condition or subpar living condition, and nobody's going to buy this house the way it is. So how are we going to, like I'm dealing with one right now, and it's a $525,000 buy and a 765 ARV, and there's 7 siblings involved, and we put an offer in with my investor, and nobody wants to pony up the money to fix the house, and it's got some deep problems. I mean, I think we had a 125,000, I think, on the remodel. So so that's kind of then rolls into my question with 7 siblings involved, and half probably will sell it at a discount and half don't, because all they see is dollar signs. I'm assuming they went on Zillow and saw the Zestimate, which is right around that 765. Have you guys have any ideas or strategies on trying to get these people to come together over it? Because I'm in a deadlock with it right now.
Sorry, I was on mute. So I find, and I know Jim has had this experience too, the more heirs you have, the better, because you can break it down to a per person payday. So selling, selling at $100,000 discount is a lot easier for each individual decision maker to get to when they know they're only making 1/7 of that, right? So instead of losing $100,000, they only have to lose whatever a seventh of that is. So I've actually had better luck negotiating with more heirs, even when they're not getting along. So you
Well,
break it down.
the issue that we have a little bit. Let me throw this wrench in the spokes a little bit. It's a big Hispanic family, and only making that statement because some of them's English is a little better than the others. One of the guys lives in Tijuana. We call it TJ down here, but he's actually an architect. He's one of the smartest guys, and he's on my side. But I don't have access to the other 6, right? And some of them might be in Mexico, some of them might be up here. And if I had the ability to talk to all of them, that would be great. But I really only have a channel through the architect, and I think he's in the middle of the age group of the family. So I'm trying to come up with something that I can write and put in writing, the issues. And I've already got some ideas now that I'm talking with you guys about what to put in there. But that's a little bit of not so much a cultural barrier, but maybe a language barrier in the fact that he's not likely to get them all on the phone and talk this thing through or anything like that,
So is the architect the personal representative?
No. The woman's still alive. It's the mom's house, but the daughter has power of attorney, and she has full authority to transfer the house, sell the house.
And does the mother have alternate living set up already? Like, is there a plan for that?
Yeah. She's already out of the house, and to make matters worse, when the guy said submit your offer and mail it to us, I just went and delivered it in the mailbox. And one of the brothers is kind of special needs, got autism or bipolar or something. And so he went to the mailbox and found it, and then lied to his brother. I said, it got dropped off last night. If you got it, went by there in the morning, it's there. No, you never sent it. And so then he found out that the brother lied to him and that he did have it. And apparently he showed it to his sister, who's got the power of attorney. So that's the kind of dynamic. It's a little crazy, but that I'm dealing with on it.
And does the sister does she not speak English, or why are you not talking to her?
Well, that's what I kept saying. I probably countless texts and emails to the guy. Please let me know the name and address, contact information of the sister so that I can get with her and arrange a meeting so we can go over it. And it's just fallen on deaf ears. And so, in other words, if I can't get a green light from the sister to at least open the dialogue, then I'm getting stonewalled.
So do you know her name?
I don't know her name.
If she has a POA, there's probably a guardianship document recorded in the courthouse. It might be a needle in the haystack, but if you could find that and get access, I mean, I don't. It sounds like you don't have all the facts.
Yeah, I don't have control of the seller. I don't have communication with the people I need to. But I think that we did a really short close. Walk through, close in 2 days, 3 days, all cash. I think.
Do all the siblings, do they all speak fluent Spanish? I'm assuming they're all bilingual, or some are bilingual?
They're probably all bilingual. Maybe the elderly mom doesn't speak real good English, or maybe none at all. But I don't think we need the permission.
Do you still have access to the property?
No, the son, the architect that I met in on this side, San Ysidro, on this side of Tijuana, we just met at a coffee shop. It was kind of funny. We got to talking, and I can share this with the group, which is kind of funny. It's a way to get. It's not a way to get leads, but you should. So I'm talking to the guy, and he says, "Oh, I'm an architect," and I said, "Oh, really? Well, what's your family history?" "Oh, my dad was a general in the Army," right? We're getting some background noise. Anyway, so I came out and told him. I said, "Well, I'm looking for houses just right in this area, people that want to sell and maybe do a quick sale, all cash." And he goes, "I got one." So, I mean, that's how I got the lead. I was just down at Pete's Coffee Shop, you know, near the mall down there, and just started chatting with him. So it's kind of cool, you know, when you just start chatting with people and
the everywhere you go approach for for prospecting probate. Yeah, it sounds like, I don't mean to cut you off. We have a few more in the queue, and it sounds like there's so many. No, it's okay. There's so many moving pieces with this. If you want to take it offline, I mean, I'm sure Chad or myself or any of us will call you back. And I think his idea would be a good place to start, to go down to the courthouse and see if you can find some kind of a document that will take you to the sister who is the decision maker. That's kind of that would be the first most important task, I think, and go from there. Would you agree, Chad?
Yeah, the other, where I was going with my other questions, something that could be really powerful, it's 50-50, I guess, at best, but if you can get access to the property and take a translator with you and do a property walkthrough video and say, you know, here's who I am, here's what we do, here's what I see and what needs to be done to this property. And as you know, I've made you an offer. The family may or may not have all seen that. And then send it to whoever, if the architect will forward that along to the rest of the family. It's at least something you can do to give them access to you. If he won't give you her number, maybe he'll forward that along, and she can still see, and in Spanish she can hear, you know, the justification for your interest and also for your lower than expected offer. And if you don't have access, that's probably the best thing you can do. But there's probably a guardianship document with her information on it if you can find it.
Yeah, no, I really like that idea. And as a matter of fact, I hate to bother my investor because he's real busy, and they do about 250 homes a year. But I think I could pretty well do it. But boy, if I had him there, and as a matter of fact, if I'm ever in the situation again, I'm just going to videotape his commentary as we go through the house, and then I have it, you know.
Yeah.
So that's a super idea. But the only thing I would add is that that at the end of the day, when they start adding these numbers up, that's another thing I could do, is make a list of the things, and perhaps my investor knows what those ills are, and I can translate that to the brother who can get it to the sister. So either one of those ways might work. All right, guys. Well, thanks for the call, and I would like to take it offline, Chad. I don't know how to get in touch with you if you don't mind. How would I do that?
Yeah, if you email support at all the leads and just put something like Chad's calendar or something on the ticket, I'm getting ready to jump on Probate Mastery for the next 3 hours at least. But email support and they'll put the ticket through to me.
All right, thanks.
All right, we're going to try to get to the last three. You got to go, Chad?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going to jump. I got to get set up. Thanks,
all right. Well, Tim and I will handle the last three in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 5564. You're up next.
Hi, Jim. It's Edwina Potter. I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And
hey there.
My question is, I keep hearing, and it kind of changed my thinking, something Chad said a while ago about, you know, people say if you're licensed, you shouldn't be a wholesaler, or wholesalers shouldn't get licensed. Well, I'm a licensed agent. How is the best way for me to learn more about the wholesaling piece? I mean, I've had wholesale offers offered on properties, but I have not been the wholesaler.
Yeah, I mean, I always recommend, there's a national organization. You can go to nationalria.com, which stands for Real Estate Investors Association. Nationalria.com. Okay. You'll see a map of the country. Just click on your area, and I guarantee you there'll be a chapter there. And go to call the president of the association and go to one of their meetings. You'd be surprised. It's like anything else. There might be 300 members, and 10% of them are actually doing deals. But a lot of the people that are there are very valuable mentors, and I guarantee you'll find some wholesalers. We also have, we had done if you go into our archives, we had done a webinar, or Chad had done a podcast with a gentleman called Ty Taylor. He calls himself Ty the Flip Man. Ty the Flip Man, and I know he teaches wholesaling. There's a lot of gurus out there, but I probably would, listen to that, and I'm sure he'd be open to answer your questions. And just from a more generic standpoint, start with your local RIA and, make some face-to-face contacts from people in your market that are actually doing it. And, that can be very, very valuable, the hands-on experience and the actual live contact with people. Most of the RIAs will meet at least once a month. So just go to the next meeting and, start rubbing elbows and brainstorming with those people.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
You kind of started this off by saying people say you shouldn't do that. Is there some reason tell me what you mean by that?
Well, and I think Chad addressed that as well, because people say that it's an extra liability you don't need to have. And, so that's kind of the premise I've always been real cautious of, even being an investor purchasing a property. So if I'm wholesaling, what other liability does that add? But like you said, if you're ethical and everything, then it doesn't matter. You're not going to have that risk.
Well, that's true. And the other side of that is that you should also, if you're going to do that, you should, you should have an insurance policy that protects you against errors and omissions on anything that you do in regard to documentation and things like that. But as long as you're using, board-approved documents in Florida, it's called FARBAR, but your state board usually has things like that are, approved agreements, and the same thing for your state bar. They probably have agreements that you're familiar with. And there are many, many people who are real estate investors who are also agents, and it's a huge source of income for them, and it allows them to grow their business. It's crazy not to do that, and you just have to being a wholesaler, there's no really any different than buying a property for an investment. Depending on what you do with it, one of the dispositions is wholesale. You can keep it, you can fix it, you can flip it. That's just one of the choices that you have, but there's certainly nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
Yeah, Dwayne, and I've mentioned on the calls many times, I did both for investing and an agent for nearly 40 years. And I can't tell you how many properties I bought because I was just extremely honest with the people. If they really didn't know which way they wanted to go, I would tell them, your house is probably worth $200,000 if you're not in a big hurry, but for me to buy it as is and close quick, I'd have to be able to buy it for $150,000. And I had so many people come back and tell me, I want to go with you because all the other investors were lying to me and telling me it was worth, $89,900 or $110,000. So honesty will go a long way. If you're totally honest with people and you let them choose what's best for them, and they choose a lower net over the convenience of a quick close, there shouldn't really be a lot of liability there. And anytime you're doing anything like this, check with your broker also. We don't want to step on anybody's toes.
Right.
Some brokers have extra disclosures and forms they might want you to fill out if you're wearing both hats. But, honesty goes a long way in having integrity and being honest with people. I think should keep you out of trouble most of the time.
Okay. All right. Great.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. You're very welcome. And we have Jim Forsyth is back, hopefully on a better connection. Jim, are you there?
Hey, Jared, can you hear me now?
Yeah, not much better, but go ahead.
Well, I had 3 bars this time. Basically, the only question is an affidavit airship, where it says, to the best of my knowledge, the deceased had no debt. And everybody protects that because, to the best of their knowledge, they didn't. We have an attorney that will not accept that. Have you ever run across that before? She says it has to state that they do know for a fact that they have no debt.
Who won't accept it? Is it the probate attorney or the closing agent?
The buyer's closing attorney. We had 2 airship affidavits, and one of them agreed to take off, to the best of my knowledge. The other one would not. They first accepted it, underwriting accepted it, and they've come back and said, no, we're not going to accept it. Have you ever every probate attorney we talked to, that's crazy. Who would do that?
Yeah. I never tell somebody don't use your attorney, but what I would do is find another attorney, or a title company maybe would be less of a threat to the attorney. Find a title company that's willing to close it and give your buyer title insurance, and just make. You've tried that already?
Yeah, we've already tried that. We've got several, and the buyer said, nope, going to stay with this one. And so basically we're at the point where he's putting it back on the market tomorrow unless they come back to us
Yeah.
to close tomorrow.
I mean, sometimes attorneys are their own worst enemies. You know, he's over-representing his client and keeping him from buying a property. But I can't think of anything else you could do that you haven't done then, Jim.
How much is the property, Jim?
Say again, Tim?
I said, how much is the property?
We sold it for $200,000.
And what do you think it's worth?
$275 if they renovate it. Probably put 15 in it, 20 maybe, and so $275. The five bedroom, 2 bath, great area.
I mean, the only out-of-the-box suggestion that I might be able to make, and again, you're kind of going in and out, so I'll just say this, and I hope you can hear me, is that you might, with that much of a margin and spread in the deal, if it's worth it to the players, have someone offer to, not be willing to pay more, but to potentially do a stop-loss guarantee in regard to that to cover any discrepancies in the documentation. And that way, if it gets all the way done, then the title company will close it, then nobody's out any money, and it's just a piece of paper. And that's something that they might accept.
We have gotten a letter from the probate attorney that states the estate is solvent with nearly $20,000 in the bank, and that there have been no creditors come forward, and they won't accept that either.
Well, what I'm saying is that the other side of that could be guaranteeing in essence, an escrow that's in the documentation that says, prior to closing and title insurance, we'll maintain this amount of money in there to be a stop loss against any potential issues like that. And that's a little different than, just saying there's money in there and he's unwilling to accept it. This one says, I'm guaranteeing you're not going to lose money, and if you do, we're willing to pony up and pay it.
Tim, I am driving, so would you mind emailing me that suggestion and let me run it by them, because I have no way to write or anything right now?
Sure, I will. Be glad to do that.
Okay, I appreciate it. And
all right, Jim. Thank you, buddy.
Okay, y'all have a good day.
Okay, you too, man. We're going to run just a little bit over, guys. We've got 2 more in the queue. Next up is 4990. You're up next.
Yes, hi. This is Lance Young from Arlington, Virginia. Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Hear you great, Lance. Better than Jim. Thanks. Go ahead.
Okay. My question is, I'm sending out 2 letters to executors of estates, an initial letter and then a follow-up. I'm thinking of hiring a cold caller, and this has probably been asked a dozen times before, but what's your recommendation on the timing, or do you even recommend cold calling? I was thinking of sending the initial letter and then waiting maybe about a week and having someone call for me, just to screen them to see if they even want to talk, and then, transition me over so I can, make the pitch.
Tim, you run the ISA program. Go ahead. You want to answer it, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line here, and we're getting an echo on the line. Are you on a speaker?
Hold on. How's that? It was on a Bluetooth.
Yeah, it's still.
I've got it off
doing
now. I'm directly on the phone.
Yeah, it's still doing it. I'm on my. Anyway, I'll just finish what I was going to say. So, we obviously we do make the calls for our customers as well as do the letters. So I can only tell you what we do, and you can certainly feel free to use our services if you choose to. But the same rules are going to apply. Typically, what we do is for the folks who are doing this and doing this in volume and being pretty successful and have it running like a machine. The leads come out, they automatically get the letters printed, typically within 2 days of the leads dropping. The letters are in the mail, and typically they wait 3 days later and follow up with a phone call, which we refer to as the warm call, which is that they're calling to make sure that somebody got the letter and go forward. And they begin those calls by simply saying, I'm trying to reach out to find Billy Bob Smith, who just happens to be the name of the PR, and once they get Billy Bob, it's, hey, Billy Bob, I'm calling to follow up on the letter I sent you, and that's kind of the step to it. But the time sequence is couple of days after the leads come out, the letters ought to be in the mail, and about 3 days later, everybody's had time to get them. We always mail a copy to the subscriber as well, so you know when you get the letter that your prospects have gotten it as well. It's in their mailbox the same day. Typically, that's the way it works. So the very next day is the day you ought to start calling.
Okay. How about with a follow-up letter? Do you recommend the follow-up letter, and then do you do another call?
Yes, our recommended plan is literally a 90-day program, which is that you get the leads, you send a letter, and follow up with a phone call. You do the same thing for 90 days. So you literally take a whack at it at 30, 60, and 90 days. Well, at initially, and then at another 30 days, and another 30 days after that. So over a 3-month time span, you've reached out and touched them 3 times. We have people also who are touching them 7 times, and the old standard is that it typically takes oftentimes it takes 7 to really make an impression and get somebody's attention, and we have people that do that. So it's a matter of your budget and your time, but certainly definitely reach out to them. The more you reach out to them later on, the less people who are going to be doing that. So your whole goal is to be top of mind with those customers when the right time comes and they make the decision to sell, or they need to find somebody. Oftentimes they think in the beginning, oh, I'll sell this myself, and 30, 60 days into this, they're going, man, this is a really not a fun thing I'm involved with. Who's that guy that was trying to reach out to me and tell me he was interested in helping me? And, they'll go hunting for your letter, and kind of that's the place to start, and that's what you need to be working on.
Okay. And
are you getting your leads from us?
You there, Lance? I guess we lost him.
We lost him.
Yeah.
Okay.
You dropped out of the
All I was going to say real quick is if you're getting them from us, we'll be happy to talk to you. Just drop a note to support@alltheleads.com, and we'll have somebody reach out to you and kind of walk you through the program. Go ahead, Jimbo.
Perfect. And everybody, we're way over, but David is back in the queue. And it's funny, I was going to, David, I know you mentioned you had recently put a deal together on someone you tried to call. I think you said you called him 24 times and you finally got a hold of him. So you're a classic answer to his question. You really can't call him too many times. But go ahead. I don't know what you want to talk about, but you might want to address that also.
Yeah, we definitely keep them in an unanswered folder until they answer. And it just keeps filtering down. And at a certain point, we're just dropping voicemails to them to get them to call us back because we have too many leads to follow up with. So to answer that shortly. But also, that lady that's in Dallas-Fort Worth, I'm open to, we're looking not to expand, but expand our network. So have that lady reach out to me on Facebook, and we'll get together, and I'll teach her some wholesaling.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I believe that was Edwina. Edwina, if you go to our Facebook group, it's David Pinnell. Get in touch with him, and you couldn't have a better mentor. David, thank you so much for that. We appreciate it.
Welcome.
Great group, guys. I love the way everybody always, not only on the calls, but on the Facebook group live. I'm always looking at that, and typically before I have a chance or Chad has a chance to answer, a half a dozen of you will jump in and answer. So great group. We can't tell you how much we appreciate all of you. I always end these calls the same way. I want to tell you how much I appreciate you being here today. And, you took an hour of your time. I want to challenge each of you. Take one idea, one thought, one thing you heard on today's call, go out and put it into practice and come back next Wednesday. We're not going to have a call on Thursday. But come back next Wednesday for our role play call, and then share your results on our next mastermind call, which will be 2 weeks from today. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great day. Have a great 4th of July, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.